Hey, welcome in to the Gold Standard College Basketball Podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Big Papa. That's Bobby Hoops. What's up, Hoops?
Dude, you've never sounded crisper.
I feel crispy. That's not just because of the game Saturday, my birthday yesterday, whatever. I wasn't going to lead with that. But yeah, if you can't tell, we are cooking with gas right now. We've got the mics. We've got the little spit guard thing.
Yeah, so we can pop our peas and it not all poppy sounding.
Yeah.
I'm sure it sounds great.
Yeah, I hope so. I hope when this is all over with and everybody puts their earbuds in, they're like, especially on Apple Podcasts, you're like, oh, that's like the crispiest noise I've ever heard.
Yeah, or any other place that you'd listen to this stuff.
Yeah, I love a good YouTube link. My phone, for whatever reason, just doesn't open when people send me Spotify stuff. I don't know what
your loss.
Yeah, not my problem. But hey, folks, it's March. I mean, we're in the thick of championship week. I mean, it's been going on for over a week now. I mean, we've got mid-major conferences going down. We've got several championship games that are going on tonight.
Madness already. Lots of it.
I mean, when our boy Lee Younger's sitting there texting us about the Indiana-Michigan State game yesterday afternoon, I'm like, he's
caught the bug.
Yeah, he's got the bug. That's just when you know you're tuning into the good stuff, not like, oh, I'll just wait until the NCAA tournament starts. Like, no, we're going to tune in for two bottom-of-the-barrel Big Ten teams playing each other. I think Indiana won by 1 point, but he texted us all in a group and was like, hey, has anybody got eyeballs on this game right now? But me, we're like, no, I think it's just you.
No, just you.
I'm not.
You're a true sicko.
Yeah. I mean, I've had my eyeballs on very weird other games in the last couple of nights.
We watched Dayton VCU at your house.
We did.
Last
weekend.
Was
great.
It was great.
Watching a quarterfinal West Coast Conference game.
Yeah.
Why not?
Pepperdine versus San Diego. Let's get weird.
Who was it the other night where the screenshot we were texting? It was like Pepperdine was up against somebody.
Pepperdine beat Pacific. I think it was 90-something to 40-something.
At halftime, it was 54-9.
Yeah.
And it was honestly, if you're not watching this game, do you care about ball?
Your loss? That sounds great. Sounds great to me.
Yeah, it was awesome. Hey, folks, other than that, we haven't been with you since February 23rd. We just want to quickly highlight any games that have stuck out, whether it's one of our own teams, any other games. Hoops, did you have any thoughts? I mean, kind of going back for the last couple of weeks, and maybe, to be honest, maybe it's really we're in the thick of regular season's over, right?
Yeah.
There's probably not much really to highlight because over the last couple of weeks, I think the way it's probably been put from big folks, your top 6-7 teams are what they are. Sorry, that was my cell phone. They've kind of started to separate themselves from the pack, I think. You don't really have to get in the weeds too much about I know Kansas took a absurd loss. To Houston, just got absolutely pummeled. Arizona.
Yeah, Kansas has been on fraud watch for a while, though.
Yeah. Arizona took you had said, yeah, exactly. You had we're right here on the if we win Saturday against Kentucky, we most likely solidify a 1 seed. And you're like, crap, did we just lose that? Maybe we didn't. But then Arizona on a little late night tip against Bronny and USC.
Bronny James.
Bronny.
I've always said LeBron's the GOAT. And that just his son saving Tennessee's chances of a 1 seed. I'm just
Yeah. He's a servant. He's a servant leader, and he was thinking of you and the other fellas. You know what? Let's help out the fellas on the East Coast, and we'll take one from Arizona. So Arizona was just here you go. You take it.
Yeah.
We don't want it. Sorry, espresso. Double. Needed it. But other than that, we've still definitely had some weird games. Take on the 24th, Cats played Bama at home up at Rupp, beat them 117-95. And that was, at least for Kentucky, I think that kind of started the snowball effect of not only have we won multiple games in a row, you're getting questioned on, can you win 6 in a row? Big picture for the tournament.
Yeah.
But can you go do it with the teams you're having to still beat up on each other in regards to conference play? And at that time, it was pretty much 1-2, 1-3, whatever, when it came to offensive efficiency. And I mean, you kind of made Bama look like they didn't belong, which, selfishly was, of course, great. But it was just the sheer factor of, like, forget defense. Screw it. Like, there's no defense being played. Kentucky's defense is wet toilet paper. It has been.
Man, yeah, you can say that. The team I've watched that Kentucky has been the last few games, especially against us last Saturday. Yeah, maybe they give up point, but they got the stops when they mattered.
Yeah, and I know I've said
they have like 18 block shots? That's what it felt like.
It did feel like it felt like at one point I was like, is anybody going to score? Because it was like, hey, how about nobody drive it down the lane into a bunch of trees and feel like, oh, we'll get it to the glass. It's like you're not.
Yeah,
quit driving the lane. So all I have to say is you stomp Alabama, and even Nate Oates is like, I don't know what you do.
Mm-hmm.
It's not one or even two guys. It's four guys at minimum. Like we guard the best one, but the other 2-3 of them, if they're on the floor together, you can't. So selfishly, I'm like, okay, maybe we got something cooking, and you've steadily, packed it together. I'm trying to find the rest of the league scores. I don't know if you've got it pulled up or not.
I think while we figure that out, I think we shan't bury the lead, and let's just talk about Kentucky, Tennessee from Saturday.
You want to go ahead and do that?
I think we just do it now, and then we can get into the other stuff.
Okay.
Let's not bury the lead. It's the gold standard podcast. I'm a Tennessee fan. You're a Kentucky fan.
Sure.
Let's
just
bury the lead.
Yeah, we don't, and that's why most people, if anything, they tune in because they're like,
yeah,
we know what happened. Yeah. We're waiting on you all to talk about it. Just get to
we
the.
We got plenty of good stuff to talk about later. But
yeah, hey, we
can work backwards from there. Yeah.
Yeah, we don't have 40 minutes on the shot clock like we've always had to do.
We've upgraded. We can go all day.
Hey, Zoom Basic, I mean, I'll still give you a thumbs up, but for this show in the caliber that we're at, nah, dog.
It's March. You got to be playing your best ball in March.
Yeah. So shout out to StreamYard. Appreciate you guys. I know that it just meant you had to take a little bit of money, but happy to do so. Thank you for supporting us, the Gold Standard Podcast. So, all right, Saturday, Cats win in Knoxville at the Tommy Bowl. What would it end up being? 85-81. Overall, like, you cannot discount the fact that DK went for 40 points, had an all-timer for senior night. Zakai, he had a good game. He had 17.
17 and 9 assists. Only one turnover.
I think you're supporting Cass. However, if you look back to, say, when they met up at Rupp a couple weeks ago, 5 weeks, that's when you had the trio of Zakai, Triple J, Vescovy. They all pop off. I mean, I think it's probably fair to say, like, it's not surprising that Zakai is playing at the level he did, at least in those two games, and then just steadily, like, he's a great point guard. So I've just heard.
Yeah, I was going to just the last few games, he has, just in terms of, like, if you only looked at his, like, assist to turnover ratio, which is, like, that's one of, if not the most important things for a point guard, or if you're the guy who's distributing the ball the most or has the ball in your hand the most, the fact that you are helping your team score without you yourself putting the ball in the hoop, while also limiting the amount of times you give the ball back to the other team, and then throw in, 10 to 20 points. Usually he's somewhere in there. Like, he's just so valuable to us. I mean, I've heard someone say recently that Zakai's kind of the heart and soul of this team, and Dalton Connect is like the gasoline. That's just, it explodes from there. But
do you think why you're saying that, it was making me think of last year? Like, does it almost become obvious for, like, you lost him, right before tournament time last year? You didn't have, like, the gas guy like DK this year. So I don't know. I don't know if that's, like, maybe me just jokingly trying to connect dots, but me thinking when you've got both now versus like last year you had one, you lost them, and then it was kind of like we're just trying to maybe, if you want to say, we're just trying to scrape by and figure this out now that we've entered the tournaments. Like what does life look like now without Zakai leading us versus you've got him now. He's I would say fully healthy, unless
I mean, I think that this is a team, and I think the last 4 games for Tennessee, all the Tennessee fans point, we had a gauntlet down the stretch of Auburn at home, then at Bama, then at South Carolina, and then finish with Kentucky at home. And if you're going to tell me before that we were going to go 3-1 down that stretch, I'd have happily taken that. But what these last 4 games have shown me, and even the Kentucky game, which I know we're going to get into that one more, but have last year, especially when Zakai went down and not having Connect on the team, if we were going to win, we had to make teams play our style of basketball, slow it down. When you're finished running the motion and usually someone's open for a jump shot, they have got to hit that jump shot. And if they don't hit that jump shot, then it's just going to be probably a rough night. Yeah. And with fully healthy Zakai and Dalton, we have shown, especially in the last couple of weeks, we can win any style. We can, against Auburn and against Alabama, we can speed it up and run and gun and take teams to a more fast-paced offensive type game, or we can go into Columbia and all South Carolina wants to do is slow it down, grind it out. I mean, that's like where that's our bag. That's Rick Barnes's bag most of the time. We're going to, okay, we'll slow down and play great defense and make sure we get good shots. And this year we've got more than just Connect, but guys that are going to, for the most part, at least if it's Zakai and Adu, make those shots. So I feel just so much more confident heading into the tournament than I did last year. And obviously losing Zakai was a big part of just like, all right, we'll see. And thankfully, we made it to the Sweet 16 last year and probably went a little further than we should have. But we're just able to play against so many different kinds of teams and different kinds of ball games and take with whatever the opposing team wants to give us, it doesn't matter what style of play is dictated. This Tennessee team can match anybody, and more often than not this year exceed it and play better. So I feel pretty confident right now, especially with. I mean, you have a Sweet 16 team, almost the same team from last year, plus healthy Zakai, plus a first-team All-American. He's not going to be – DK won't be Naismith Player of the Year. It's going to be Zach Edey from Purdue. But yeah, I mean, this is a team that can win the championship and, is Final Four good – anything less than Final Four will feel like a big disappointment, and which is crazy to say considering we've never been there before. We've never been past the Elite Eight. But this is a team that is good enough and I'm at the point where I'm like, yeah, I'm ready to get hurt again. Like I've never been hurt before.
yeah. Like I've never experienced this pain.
This team is good enough that obviously we're flirting with being the last 1 seed. Yeah, this team can be there in the final weekend.
I may have said this before in a different show, but is part of it too the thought if, again, this is more like big picture, not just a microcosm, but of take Deacon, the program history, all that stuff. Is there like a feeling of, man, if we can't do it with these guys, like, will we? Maybe not. I mean, I think maybe the floor, and we've talked about this even for just overall college basketball landscape, that I think the floor from talent standpoint is just way better than it's ever been. And
totally.
Most likely will just continue to get better. So if anything, I'm like, if you're not like watching college hoops, then you're just really missing like a pretty good product. I know some national folks have been trying to put out the like, man, this just like isn't good. I'm like, do you watch college basketball? Like,
it's so great. It's so fun.
It's great. Like, there's teams literally. I mean, even the Jeff Goodmans and some of the other guys who, are well-known, you hate my team type level of, which, it's just their bit, whatever. But it's like, they're even saying that we've just got consistently teams putting up NBA numbers. We got teams averaging in the 90s. They'll go put up over 100 points multiple times in the year. Like, what do you mean this isn't a good product? This is great. Yeah, we may not have, the Grayson Allens, the JJ Redicks. I know I'm using Duke names, but I'm just thinking like big names that surround Zion. You can name it.
There aren't a lot of like the big one and done electric 5-star talent.
Right.
But like almost all the big names, all the players that are being considered for, first team All-American or Naismith Player of the Year, they're all upperclassmen for the most part, or guys who have transferred. And Zach Edey at Purdue, RJ Davis at UNC. Is he a 5th-year senior? Or either way, he's a senior at UNC. And Caleb Love, who transferred from UNC to Arizona, and Jamal Shed at Houston, and Dalton Connect. Like, these are all seniors who have been at their school for 4 years or transferred somewhere along the way. And I think it's cool that, that was a little bit of like the college basketball that we kind of grew up watching, of having upperclassmen be the focal point of teams. And not to say that the one and done is bad. I think it's great. Obviously, your team has utilized the one and done probably better than anyone over the years. But I think it's cool, and especially in college basketball where there's so many different styles of play, and there's more than one way to get the job done, and that you don't see in the NBA. Which I like the NBA, but it's all more or less kind of one style of play. And college basketball is just so different across the board, and how you can succeed. And I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Well, I didn't mean to get us down a rabbit hole, because obviously I took us there to get me back to the original point. Because of the floor with college hoops nowadays, NIL, transfer portal, and being able to get guys, take DK, came from Northern Colorado, right? I mean, like Tazarian White, he'll transfer from UNC Greensboro. It just is like those guys are now available.
Big Tone.
I mean,
who cooked me.
Thank God. Thank God it just did not work out where he was trying to go back to Illinois State or whatever. But all I have to say is there a part of you like Smidge that thinks like, if these guys don't do it, it could be really hard moving forward for Rick to get it done?
Yeah.
Or does like the voices get louder for those if they're like big?
Oh, totally. I think
they don't.
I think the arguments of, when people, whether it's local people here in Knoxville or it's like national media people saying like, oh, Rick Barnes in March, it's Rick Barnes in March. You can't bet on it. You can't bank. Well, like, you could say the same thing about a lot of guys over the years.
Sure.
A lot of coaches who have climbed the mountain and won it all. Tony Bennett at Virginia, Scott Drew at Baylor, Jay Wright at Villanova. Like, those were all guys who were at their schools for a while, and it took a while, and they had all the same things said about them. And it's kind of like, you can kind of say that about any coach that hasn't climbed the mountain these days. And until they do. And I think, so I'm not so worried about no part of this heading into this tournament do I have like doubts about my coach or anything like that. But that being said, goodness gracious, this is the team. This is the team. Because if it doesn't happen this year, Connect's gone, Josiah Jordan-James is gone, Vescovy's gone, and even with the latter two guys, Vescovy and Josiah, who offensively have not been close to what we kind of hoped for with them this year. I mean, poor Vescovy scoring 0 points on senior night against Kentucky. That was pretty brutal with a couple air balls in there. That wasn't fun. But they're both so valuable to the team and what they bring defensively. They're both smart players. I mean, there was the that tweet that was kind of going viral of after the Alabama game that Tennessee won a couple weekends ago, of they were about to run, I think, an inbounds play, and Tobe Awaka was he's kind of confused. He didn't understand the play, and Vescovy said, "Here, give me the clipboard." And he's writing down and showing Awaka what to do because he's been here 5 years. He understands this offense, and he like yes, offensively not quite been what you've hoped for from them, but they just bring so much to the team outside of just putting the ball in the hoop. So, like, with all that being said, and the amount of talent you have, and Connect's a once in a lifetime player at this school, and so yeah, if you don't do it this year, or I mean, to me, it's make the Final Four, make the Final Four, do what's never been done here before. I mean, win a championship by for sure. That would be unheard of, but you've got to go really far, or this is going to be a big disappointment to me. And that's just doing what this team has proven that it can do.
Sure.
In take on all comers and compete and win and find a way to win with the amount of veterans that have been in the trenches and know how to do it.
Yeah. I like it. Makes sense to me. Hey, if there's any solace, if JVC doesn't get it done, can I? That's all I got to say. Get them out.
I mean, what are you guys in your last 5? You're 5-0 in your last?
Yeah, they've won the last
6.
Yeah, as I say, it was either the last 6 or 7 games. Let's see, counting Saturday, so that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so the last 5. Yeah, that's right, because they lost in that buzzer beater down in.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, had they not lost, it would be 7 in a row because they had beaten Auburn down at Auburn and then beat Ole Miss.
That's right. That's right. I mean, watching y'all on Saturday, and watching more than just Saturday. If I'm anybody else, I do not want to see Kentucky in my bracket.
Yeah, the
way you guys are playing right now. I mean, when on the game on Saturday, when Dillingham caught his second foul with I don't know, it was 12 or 13 minutes left in the first half. I'm like, great.
A lot.
We're not going to see Dillingham for the rest of the first half, pretty much. This is going to be awesome. And I mean, it just didn't matter. The way Shepard, Reeves, Justin Edwards, who, I mean, it was about a month ago, maybe even less, that dude wasn't barely playing. Poor kid was getting sent out to handle the tough questions by JVC, and he was cooking us too on Saturday. I mean, it feels like, from a Tennessee fan's observations and someone who's loosely followed the team alongside you and alongside doing this podcast and whatnot, that Kentucky is starting to show the promise of what this season was supposed to look like. And I know that that's kind of been Calipari's thing in the more like the last decade, since 2015, of we're going to figure it out come March. Now, obviously, the results in March haven't quite been there.
Sure.
But this team looks scary good. And the fact that you've got 5 guys pretty much who can just fill it up. And if Onyenso is going to have 12 blocks in a game too, it was brutal. I mean, they staved off, and I'm going to shut up after this last point, but
say what you want.
I mean, Kentucky staved off 3 comebacks from Tennessee.
Yeah.
And still won that game. And that's why I'm ultimately, I wasn't too down about the game. It's obviously, I always want to beat Kentucky. But, the fact that we already had the regular season title wrapped up and whatnot, but the fact that Kentucky staved off 3 comebacks from us, including, still finding a way to win after turning the ball over 3 times in the last minute, which I'm sure you were pulling your hair out about.
Good golf. Yeah.
I was just very impressed with how could you not be when you shoot 51% from 3 in a game? Yeah. Reed Shepherd's just a big fat jerk.
Maybe one of the funniest like in-game texts I've ever gotten, and I know it was in the group chat, but just
I think almost I called him an a-hole.
Yeah, it's just like the big cat bit where he's like, make the bad man go away. I was just imagining you sitting like on your couch, just like make the bad man go away. Take Reed out of the arena.
He was 7 of 10 from 3.
I hate Reed Shepherd. Somebody said on the internet,
good.
Somebody said Reed Shepherd's the most Duke-like guy on Kentucky's roster ever. And at first I was like, don't you ever.
Nah, he hasn't tripped anybody yet.
Yeah, and I was like maybe, but they're only doing it because it's like, oh, the like white guy who semi looks like he shouldn't be
the
playing
white
basketball.
Guy in blue who's really good.
But it's like Reed Shepherd's like he couldn't be Duke-ish because he's too nice.
Yeah.
I mean, whatever. There were people who
there was that tweet going around after the game. He was like trying on Carhartt overalls. Like he's a Kentucky boy. He's a Kentucky boy.
I mean, he's the kind of guy that they go play in Atlanta on a neutral site court and then immediately gets home that night to go to a rodeo in Rupp. Like that's what he does. He doesn't care. I think what was most impressive, not just you're stacking wins like I already talked about, but you're doing it in a way. Getting group text blown up for Charlie's T-ball team. Everybody's picking numbers right now, and Charlie's already lost out on his first 2 choices,
which were
yikes. Sorry, buddy. He really wanted number 4. I don't know why. We were just like, hey, what number do you want? He goes 4, please. Okay, great. Literally send the text, shirt size, number 4. Boom, text right before it. Nova, number 4. I was like, Nova can have it.
Dang it, Nova.
Little girl, she's super sweet.
Nova can.
And then I send the next one. I was like, I just give him 5. Eric, the head coach, is like, both of those are gone. What's his third choice? So he's going to be number 11, which is my number.
Old man's number. That's right.
Yeah, man. Just
all right.
Me and his granddad. That was the number we rocked back in the day. So he won't get it. He's going to turn 4 in April. He's going to be mad when I tell him like, sorry. 11. Yeah, he's gonna be, I hate you. Whatever. So stacking wins, you're consistently, I mean, Big Tone and Reed have just been steady eddies, especially Tone. I mean, I think I heard somebody say the last 6 or 7 games in a row, he's 20's the floor points per game for him. And I know that as the president of the Big Tone Club, like that part isn't shocking, but he's able to do it in a 3-level way. Like I've talked about, it's not just, he just goes nuclear from 3. Like that's how he scores. No, if you watch him, he takes dudes off the dribble. He did step out of bounds on the one play. Sorry, everybody.
I wasn't going to say it, but
I don't know how they missed that call. I'm like, the refs, he's not even 6 steps away on the baseline, and he missed it. I'm like, I don't know what to say. It was blatant on the replay. It wasn't even like pinky toe. Half his foot was on the line. So sorry. But
yeah, don't get me started.
But whether he's like they're running floppy action for him, on the baseline, it's just kind of like, hey, make a move, get you a screen, and hopefully you're wide open at the 3. If not, jab, whatever you got to do, take the ball to the hoop. He can do those things, and he wasn't really able to do that last year. Last year, he was way more of a run floppy action, shoot the 3. If you don't have the 3, pass the ball up, and just that.
Explain floppy action for those that might not know what you mean there.
Sure. Floppy action is designed for a scorer. So take DK and Tone. Ideally, they're along the baseline, basically like right underneath the basket. And so you'll take 2 big guys on the blocks, and every now and then you may get one of the wings also set so they basically just get the pick. They can either go right or left. They can fake right, go to the other way, but ideally they get a screen. Sometimes the wing, so take like Justin Edwards or Triple J, they set a second screen if they need to. they roll off the pick in order to get the ball for the sake of, like I said, either get a shot off or, if you've got a driving lane, get to the bucket, and then you can do a number of things, right? Like throw a floater. If you can get to the rim, dunk it, a layup. While you're driving to the lane, I mean, you can dump it off to your big man, assuming pulling the D, right? So the whole deal is just, it's designed to allow the scorer to basically cook and get into their own rhythm. It's more outside of that, like, let's run a set play specific, I say specifically for somebody that's kind of floppy action, but it doesn't have to be necessarily Tone or DK. I mean, it's basically like anybody that has the capability of shooting the three or driving can do that. So if Tone's not in the game, you're putting Rob Dillingham down there most likely. If DK's not in, I bet Vescovy could do it, honestly. He may not be the quickest guy, but he has the capability, one, to shoot the three, and two, I think he's stocky enough and has some power behind him to where, like, if he needs to put the ball on the ground, he can, and he's got a little bit of a shoulder lean onto him, he can get to the rim. There's probably other guys that you would say I would rather have.
I wish he'd do it more.
Yeah. So hopefully that's floppy action
that makes
by
sense.
Audio. But yeah, I'm impressed by those two guys, how consistent they've been. I mean, Reed does the Kentucky legend effect and goes and wins you a ball game. Then at Mississippi State, Tone is Tone. I mean, at this point, I'm like, if he doesn't, I don't even care if it's third team. I'm like, if he's not an All-American, then, like, it's a shame. It just isn't. It's not him shooting threes. I mean, he scores at all three levels. Just produces quietly. It's shocking, like, how quietly the production is, and it's fine. Honestly, I'm like, that's great. It puts the pressure.
It's so crazy with how, like, the noise around Kentucky has been more about Reed and Rob Dillingham.
Yeah.
Who understandably have both, they're electric freshmen. But man, Reeves he's so consistent.
Yeah. I selfishly, think you should be drafted in the first round, even if it's late. But I think it's a size thing. And it makes sense. Yeah. Take Justin Edwards. I'm like, my man's starting to feel confident. I think he went for 16. Yeah, 16 points. 16. He went 4 of 7 from threes, 6 rebounds.
I think there was at one point he had 3 in a row, I think. I mean,
he's starting to. And the funny thing was, I think he was quoted saying to himself, like, this was my breakout game. I'm like, you had 28, went 10 for 10 against Alabama. That wasn't your breakout. Okay. Like, whatever, yourself. If you're like, this was it, great. I don't know if it's because, for folks at home, they don't realize, for Justin Edwards, it was down between Kentucky and Tennessee when he was deciding of what school he wanted to commit to, and, ended up being Kentucky. But maybe there was that factor of coming into Knoxville and playing with a chip on your shoulder, if you want to say that. But maybe, if anything, it just kind of solidifies, like, hey, what happened to Alabama and what's been going on isn't a joke. Like, I'm here. I'm playing at the level I expected myself to play when I first got here, and I didn't. And I mean, he had some moments between the Bama game and Saturday where, I mean, there were some times I'm like, where did you go? And he may only would then have like 6 points because he got 2 or 3 fouls in the first half, and so you never saw him. But kind of gets maybe back to the big picture of this team and where they're at, which is just because Rob Dillingham goes out with 12, 13 minutes left in the first half because he fouls twice, it's okay, because you've got Tone, you've got Reed, you've got Edwards stepping up. And, even DJ didn't have a great game. He fouled out with a couple minutes left in the second half. I mean, he only had 4 points and 2 rebounds.
Well, that's just what's so...
But, like, guys can stink.
Scary to me about your team is, DJ had a bad game, and, like, you've got no less than 3-4 other guys that can do what they did.
Yeah.
To stave off 3 big comebacks on the road.
2 go for 27. 1 for 16, 1 for 11. Yeah. 0 points from big men, which is a little bit shocking. Like you had told me that before the game, which I was already feeling nervous about already because of what happened in Lexington. I was like, you've got to have something from your big guys. I don't even care if it meant Z's hit a couple threes. Ugo, just his offensive game's not there. Bradshaw's, I think it's pretty obvious. I mean, he may have he played 2 minutes. Now,
Bradshaw's Yenso changed the game with his defensively.
Yeah.
And Fierro, pretty much too. I mean, 6 blocks between them. That when the game comes down, it's a 4-point win. That's huge.
Yeah. And that's what you got to have.
There was a 10-minute window where it just felt like we can't score in the paint right now.
Yeah.
Because they're just going to block it. And it changed the game totally.
Yeah. So that was impressive. I mean, as a team, you went 15 to 29 from 3. 4 goals you shot, 27-59, which is good for pretty much 46% from the field, which is nuts. Sometimes I think it's funny when people will like get up and be like, best shooting night of their lives from 3, and I'm like, they're the number 1 team in the country shooting from 3. Like, that's not a mistake. Or like they didn't just have really good night. Is it very impressive as a team they shot 15 threes collectively? Yeah. But I mean, for me and other Kentucky fans, like, you would honestly expect, like, yeah, the floor should be double digits from 3. Like, Bama fans would tell you that. Nate Oates would be like, we expect to make double digits from 3s, and if we don't, there's a really good chance we're probably going to lose.
Especially when it's like you're going to be shooting. The idea is we're shooting between probably 30 to 43s.
Yeah.
Again, now, like, if you make 15, like, all right.
Yeah, what are you going to do?
But yeah, like you said, the especially with how the team's built and made, yeah, you should hit 10 threes.
Yeah. So that's it. It all feels like, okay, I really think there's something here for the sake of making a run. And Saturday really helped feel that way just because of Tennessee being, I mean, high ranked in both adjusted offense and defense in the country. And clearly defense, I mean, they're top 3 in defense.
Top 5 at least. But yeah, they're.
So yeah, I mean, if you're Kentucky, like, I don't see how you don't feel great about going forward. Now, personally, I'm like,
in the tournament.
There's a part of me, and it's well known, like, JVC doesn't give a bleep about conference tournament. If it were up to him, he wouldn't even play in it. It would just be like, give us a week and a half off for rest and practice, and then, like, we'll go to the NCAA tournament. He doesn't care about it. He'll tell you, we just do it for the fans. And
well, and especially nowadays where like the NCAA tournament committee pretty much all but says that obviously if you win the tournament,
it's nice.
It's nice. But the committee would tell you most of the time that they don't factor conference tournaments in all that much.
Not that much. The only way the committee now looks at it is one of the teams, if you play at least one or multiple, are they like highly ranked in the net? Are they ranked highly in KenPom? If they are, and you win against, like a top 40, top 30 KenPom, whatever, or in the net, then like we'll give you credit because you at least played them again and you won. But yes, they have proven over the last decade, 2 decades, that even if you make it to the championship game in your conference tournament, doesn't matter. Like you made it, that's great. But if you win it, obviously you get an automatic bye to go in. But it doesn't matter. I mean, there's been teams that were on the bubble, make it to the conference championship game, and still don't make the tournament. It happens. Happened to A&M a couple years ago.
Tennessee and Kentucky this year, it's not going to change. It's not going to change anything.
Like, from my point of view, if they make it to the championship game, part of me would be like, are you flirting with a 2 seed?
Yeah.
But even if you win it, like, I don't
see that, and we'll get into conference tournament stuff more, but that's win a game, and I feel pretty good about us keeping a 1 seed going into the NCAA tournament.
Yeah,
don't need to win it. I'd like to win it, of course.
Sure, why
want
not?
to see your team win. But yeah.
Do you was there any like other thoughts you had about the game itself? Even if you need to complain about anything. I mean, again, it's our show. We can do whatever we
Other
want.
than, I guess I just was again, if you're going to tell me going into the gauntlet of Auburn, Alabama, South Carolina, and Kentucky that we're going to come out 3-1, and the one loss is a 4-point loss to Kentucky, like, yeah, I'll take that, especially if it means we win the SEC. Rick Barnes has only done that one other time, and it was a share of the title in 2018 with Auburn that year, I think. So it was pretty cool to on last Wednesday night watch Tennessee beat South Carolina, solidly. Carolina made a little push at the end there, but never really was in too much of a doubt. But so it was cool to be, Barnes' first solo outright SEC title, and we talked earlier that the regular season, yeah, if you're going to choose to win one of the regular season in the SEC tournament, you dang sure would rather it be the regular season, and so that was pretty cool. And to watch us, go into Alabama and kind of kick their butt, that was pretty cool, and a pair of that 4 games is just Connect going crazy. I mean, it just feels like game by game by game. I mean, we lost, but man, putting 40 on Kentucky is he's unbelievable. And I think he's at the point now he's probably going to get his number retired, which is crazy considering him only being here 1 year. To me, if you're first team All-American, he's going to be SEC Player of the Year. He's only going to be here 1 year, but the stuff he's done this year, 5 games over 35 points, and so I wasn't too down after it stunk just because Kentucky was electric, and sometimes nothing you can do when they hit 15 threes, and not like, only a handful of them were wide open or because of bad defense or something. Kentucky beat us. That's simply what it was. Kentucky won the game more than Tennessee lost it, and that's, just got tip your cap to Kentucky. But I felt much better about it after, as previously stated, Bronny James saved us and beat Arizona late Saturday night. Now there's a little bit of talk about UNC kind of creeping up and getting that 1 seed. I want that 1 seed bad.
Yeah. I think it completely, it like really helps. I mean, I'm probably more on the end of like, if you don't get a 1, I'm more like, whatever, just try to get as high as the seed you can, like, so be it. But if you get a 1, strategically, you're ideally going to have the easiest path. Now that doesn't always work out, but that's how at least they try to set it up for you, is like, if you deserve the 1 seed and we give it to you, you're going to be rewarded. Like, for location purposes, who do you play and all that stuff. Like, they're going to try to give it to you. Then everything just plays itself out. But if you don't get a 1, I'm like, whatever. Just because at some point you're going to end up playing somebody that's already, excuse my French, pretty damn good. Like by the Sweet 16. Like, that's when he usually gets to. It doesn't really matter. Like, every team's good at that point. So
they keep showing the bracketologies and all that kind of stuff of what that last 1 seed.
LaFraude? What did LaFraude say?
Joe LaFraude.
Just saying, if you pay him $5,000, he'll beef your team up. Just saying.
Hey, if all that could be true, if he's right and we are the last 1 seed, he's good in my books, at least this year.
Could you start a kick? What's the online give? Is it Kickstart? Is that the name of the
Kickstarter?
Yeah, could you start or whatever? I'm trying to think of just go start a thing and say like, hey, Tennessee fans, if you want to donate, we need to fundraise $5,000.
Pull some funds,
and I'll pay it from my own account, or go ahead and pay it. Just like, hey, if you want to pay me back, I'm trying to help our boys out and get a 1 seed. I'm not Tennessee fans. I'm not telling Bobby Hoops to do this.
It's not a bad idea.
If you're out there and listening, somebody should do it. It would just be really good on a message board if somebody was like, "Hey, I'm thinking about doing this. Anybody want in?"
Like Joe Lenardi is the ultimate.
Yeah, he's the end all be all on like, okay, yeah, we'll put him in. They paid me. Just saying, it's fine.
Yeah.
Also, breaking news. I giggled at one point because in the group text, a different one that we were both in. Kirk Cousins, he's signed a 4-year deal with the Atlanta Falcons. So our boy Smoke, I'm sure, is absolutely going to be beside himself. We'll see. I don't know how he's going to react, but
I like that move for the Falcons.
Yeah, great move for the Falcons. Zero issue with that. We'll be fine. Go Vikes. Skull. Yeah, I don't know if I had any really other big takeaways. I mean, I think for like kind of the grand scheme of like we've talked about already, was there probably more for Kentucky to play for in that game than say Tennessee? Probably. Just because Kentucky's really fighting for more. Well, take again the 2 seed factor in the conference tournament. You're really at that point, you're like, we just want to get a double bye. It was like, if you win, you secure a 2 seed. If you don't, then you're really hoping an Auburn, Bama, Carolina.
A lot of other stuff has to happen.
Which it's like, it could have. It obviously didn't. They won the games that they should. But that's when it would have gotten weird. And it's like, look, go prove yourself on the road, win a really, really hard game. And it just helps you for seed purposes in the NCAA tournament. At this point, I'm like, assuming you don't lose at least the first game in the conference tournament, like you probably have secured a 3 seed, which is great. We'll take it. I mean, it went from like, hey, I think we're going to be like
4 or 5 a few weeks ago.
Yeah. 5, 7, 6 seed, whatever. Where I'm like, great. We're going to be shipped out to like Salt Lake City, which I mean, they probably still could go out west at this point. But at that point, you're like, they're going to go there, or they're going to go to Washington, and not going to even be close. But now it's like, well, maybe you have a chance to be relatively close, whether it means you're in like
right now, Lafrati's got you in Pittsburgh as a 3 seed.
That's not bad. Like, I'm not going to drive there. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe. But Kentucky fans, they'll show up. They'll show up in droves for sure.
Blue Nation will show up.
Yeah. They'll be great. Nobody's going to be mad about Pittsburgh. But if it's anywhere else, you only get like a few versus like a bunch of them. Other than that, feel good. JVC gets to live another day. Like, you're lucky. All right. See you in Nashville. I even tried again to listen to the post game, and I was like, I can't listen to this dude. Sometimes I can. It's just like you can't. Even like he interrupted one reporter who was talking about DJ, and they were trying to get at this point where of like, hey, DJ's had a couple bad games in a row, and before he could get to his point of saying, but he's showing some progress even from like an injury. I mean, he just cuts him off and he's like, well, hold on now. He's been hurt. And it's like, he knows, dum-dum. You won't let him finish. Like, there's just the, like, he wants to protect his guys. And I get it. I value it. That's very kind. But it's like, dude, stop. Quit making, and I've talked my head off about pretty much everybody's the villain from any Kentucky fan or media standpoint. And it means if you say anything, if you even utter his name or a kid's name, he immediately thinks you're going to say something bad, which is like, not always. Yeah. Like a media member could be like, hey, it's really good what DJ's doing. Are you kidding me? He's been playing hurt. It's like, they didn't, you're like, stop.
He was complimenting him.
Yeah. He was complimenting. Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
they're going to throw them under the bus like everybody does. Conference tournament. You want to talk about that real quick? Hey, everybody. Super Bowl time. I'm telling you, lock in Wednesday night. Oh, God. As I've said, my fourth Super Bowl of this year will be coming down to. Do you have the bracket in front of you?
Yeah, I do.
Why don't you go ahead and list off for us what we're looking at on Wednesday? Who we got?
Game 1 at 6 p.m. Central Time. That would be 7 p.m. Eastern Time. You have 13-seeded Vanderbilt playing 12-seeded Arkansas. And then 25 minutes after that ends, you have 14-seed Missouri. The winless in the conference, Missouri.
Yes. Yeah.
0-18, I think it was, in the conference. My goodness.
Oh, yeah.
They play Georgia, the 11 seed. Wow, those are two electric matchups.
God, those games are going to be so good. I cannot wait. God.
I mean, Vanderbilt's Vanderbilt. They stink. I think all the word is that Jerry's probably gone. Jerry Stackhouse.
Yeah.
Big buyout for Jerry, but he's probably gone. But what's
that number again?
15 million? I think you said 15 million buyout.
Woo!
He got coach of the year last year, and they still haven't made the NCAA tournament with him. How can that be?
Didn't he get co-coach of the year with
co-coach of the year?
Who was the other guy?
Oh, Dennis.
What's their conference record again?
0-18.
Yikes!
That's
so the two co-coaches of the years. Yikes! Sucks to suck.
Yuck. Yeah, and even and like they're taking some of the heat off Arkansas, who many were suspecting Arkansas was going to have a great year.
Yeah,
they've had all kinds of craziness in that locker room, both on the court and off it.
Preseason, they were in the top 3.
That's right.
Just riders picking teams, but they were top 3 in the preseason rankings. Wasn't like those dudes were just middle of the pack.
Yeah.
So, again, folks, just go ahead, cut out your schedule for Wednesday night, starting at 7:00 Eastern.
Yeah, 7:00 Eastern, and then
go ahead
Missouri,
and get ready to
Georgia to follow.
Your night is booked. We've got games to watch, ladies and gentlemen. Wednesday night.
Great.
That arena. I think folks will be surprised if they've never really cared about a Wednesday night. There's going to be quite a bit of people in that arena. You'll be a little bit surprised on like the amount of folks who show up for a Wednesday night, because everybody, for the teams that are either on a one game or double bye, they all show up too, because they're like, these guys stink. We're coming to watch. If I had tickets, if I could buy tickets to any of, I would buy tickets to a Wednesday night. That would, and get me as close as you can to the court. I would. I would be dancing. So do you want to pick those? Well, actually, we talked about doing a separate episode where we purely just pick ball games, not just from the SEC, but for like other conferences that we were like, we have zero clue about these guys. But we're gonna pick them. Shout out to my boys from Colgate. I think they're playing for conference championship maybe tonight or tomorrow. So not shocked that they're back on the block.
I think I didn't notice when I was reading you off. Like I said, Kentucky currently in the NCAA tournament, 3 seed. Potential of meeting in the second round, 15-seeded Colgate. In the Sweet 16. It would be the Sweet 16.
They will destroy Colgate. Now, did I pick Colgate to like really make a run last year? Who's to say? I don't remember. Somebody not named Big Papa on the show was like, man, I really leaned into your Colgate pick. You lost me some coin on that one, dude. I was like, sorry. I'm not as I've said many of times, not a sports advisor when it comes to gambling. Again, if you wanted to pick them, it's like I wrote them was trying to get them to the Elite Eight, but they end up losing the first game. I was like, well, this screwed everything up. So thanks a lot. Lee Younger's calling me right now, leaving me a voicemail. What do you think that's about? Got to be about Kirk, right?
Got to be about Kirk. Yeah. Yeah.
I can't wait to listen to it. I'm sure he's just going to be like, what's Smoke's address? I need to go take him a bowl of soup, waiting for him when he gets back from Turks and Caicos, because I'm sure he's on a plane right now, is about to open that up and be like, son of a what the? So, what the? Yeah, we'll do a different episode on that one, because look at us again.
Yeah, we're almost at an hour here.
Yeah. Do we want to pick any of the games in the conference, at least in the SEC? Or what if we just pick Wednesday night for now?
Yeah, let's just pick Wednesday night.
Yeah, and then
we'll
get into
Bowl.
Super Bowl. First game. Remind me, you said it's who?
Vandy and Arkansas, and then Missouri and Georgia.
I'll take. Man, I feel like the Arkansas Vandy game. I'll probably go Arkansas because I think they've got way more talent. They've got more talent at guard position.
Simply based off talent, Arkansas
has
to win that game. It's been a horribly disappointing year for them.
But like, would it be shocking if Vanderbilt won?
No.
God, that's the beauty of Wednesday night.
Totally.
Like, wouldn't be shocked. I'll still ride Arkansas. I'll pick them. Yeah. Missouri and Georgia.
I mean, Georgia, easy. Missouri's 0-18. And Georgia, like, I think Dalton Connect killed them mid-season, but they were not a bad team for at least the first half of conference play.
Yeah, you got to go Georgia. I can't. Yeah, I can't.
Got to go Georgia.
I can't do a bit. I was gonna say, what would Sammy Reeser do? You think he would ride with his team, or he'd be like, no?
Yeah, he'd flash the guns and cheer for his team.
On the biceps, it just says
he's got big arms, so
pick
him if you got him.
It just writes in pick Mizzou, and it's like,
pick Mizzou,
pick Mizzou. All right, we ride. No, we're going with Georgia. Sorry. Dennis Gates, fire him. That's not me. If anything, I've been on the don't be shocked if Dennis Gates gets a different job.
In our season preview, you were calling it.
Yeah, I was like, he'll get hired to a different job, assuming he'll do really well or mild, And it's like, oh, well, I didn't think they were going to go 0-18 and throw up an offer. I don't know what to do there. So Sammy's calling for his job. He's boots on the ground. If he says, I guess we just go with what Sammy says.
I guess so.
We need to get him on the show. Big Bill vouched for him of that one text he sent. It's like, man, maybe he needs to get on the airways and spout out about
Sammy does ball.
He does. I give him credit, especially when he sent that text. I was like, oh, you've been paying attention, big guy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think those are picks. Understandably, they're all pretty much they're the same. And if anything changes, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't be shocked if Vanderbilt won. To some degree, I wouldn't even be shocked if Missouri won. It would just be hysterical because then you're like, dude, Mike White, what are y'all doing? Just go ahead and head back to Athens. Sorry, couldn't get it done.
Yeah. Hey, you got any dogs or jabronis of the week?
I do.
I got a jabroni for sure.
You tell your jabroni.
Just the Duke Blue Devils. Just as a institution right now.
Oh, yes. Go on. Why would it be the entire institution?
Them just clutching their pearls for a week, talking about court storming and oh my gosh, how terrible. And what are we gonna put the players first and that.
Well, and they thought that
later. Sorry, what?
No, I was just going to say, then, there's the whole story about Kyle Filipowski.
Kyle Filipowski sprained his ankle. Terrible.
He was out and tore his ACL.
Yeah. 2 weeks later, which I'm giving him jabroni of the week, but the part of me also is like, yes, embrace the Duke heel. Because 2 weeks later, playing UNC on Saturday night, he's out there tripping guys on purpose, channeling his Grayson Allen, just being downright dirty. give me those. That's the Duke I love to hate. And then as soon as the game's over, UNC's celebrating on the court, and their students are throwing water bottles and ice and all kinds of stuff on the court. You just love to see it. Duke, University of Duke, whatever, Duke University, jabronis of the week. They're back. Yes. Love to hate Duke.
Yeah. It's like we've been waiting for you guys to do that. I was thinking about it, and actually my dogs of the week, dogs with a plural, actually is you, Bobby Hoops, Razor, and our boy T-Cox. Just wanted to give a shout out to you guys for showing up this past Friday night. Appreciate you guys. You didn't have to come hang out.
Yeah, birthday behavior for Big Papa.
Birthday behavior, 32.
32.
As of yesterday.
Yeah. Happy birthday.
Hey, appreciate that. If any of y'all are out there, you can go look me up on Instagram. Go ahead and like my post. I worked really hard on that. Did I give myself a birthday shout out again?
Yeah.
Who knows?
That was the least surprising thing for me to see that day is, BP made a birthday post for himself.
As I've heard before, if you can't vote for yourself, who can you vote for? Which I heard that back several years ago in JC before we moved back. And I was like, that's a really good point.
Yeah.
So that just goes along with everything else. So if you can't post about yourself, then why do you even have Instagram?
Yeah.
That's the way I look at it. So yeah, shout out to you guys. My dogs of the week. Man, I don't know if I have a jabroni.
My other dog, or my dog of the week, outside of you, of course, for your birthday, but
appreciate it.
I've told a few rec basketball stories on this pod. My team of Brick City, we had our final game on Saturday. We won a playoff game and lost our second one by a lot. But we finished the season with a 2-10 record, I think. But hey, they fought hard. We were not very good. But we ended up with a playoff win. And that's all, and they had fun the whole time. And I think the biggest reason why they're my dogs of the week is the game directly after our last one ended in a absolute a brawl where
literal
two dads and 3 players were arrested. And so my guys are doggos of the week for not stooping to those lows of hey, we're losing, let's just fight. Like, no, we can be gentlemen about it.
Yeah. Hey, there ain't no way we're getting out with the dub. Let's just get ejected.
Let's just shoot half court shots. That's what my guys did. If you're down, just shoot half court shots. So,
heave them, baby. That's the way we're coming out.
It was an honor to coach you.
Shout out to Bobby Hoops. I was about to say, you didn't have to give your time away. You did it. We appreciate your service. Shout out to you. Hey, yeah, not a problem. Other than that, I think that's all I got until we hop back on for episode. This was episode 22. When we hop on for episode 23, like I said, we'll do just a conference by conference games, whatever's still available, at least this week. We'll pick games based off of just pure gut.
Yeah.
No. Once again, as it's been said, this could be somebody's first episode. Our background on basketball is we're just guys.
I just like it.
Yeah. I mean, I played 1 year of high school basketball and couldn't make it my sophomore year. So that's all I've got. We have no insider information. We're not.
Nope.
I mean, we like to drop scoop if we hear it from somebody else who gets insider information.
Yeah, but secondhand. We're second.
It's not ours.
Yeah.
So, but that's how we'll pick games. I don't know. Like Colgate, I just liked it because I like their toothpaste. That's why I picked Colgate. Other than that, I got nothing. So we'll do that on the next episode or whatever we want because it's our show. Cool. Hey, last thing I got. There's in this new viral song been going around for a couple months now. Is it the anthem? I don't know. You tell me. I'm Big Papa. That's Bobby Hoops.
I'm Bobby Hoops.
Scratch him.
I hate how much this song actually goes.